Hi, welcome to today's QGIS tutorial lesson 11 part 2. In this video, we'll learn how to georeference in QGIS using the Georeferencer plugin. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so that you can get a notification when I upload the next lesson. If you're new to my channel, you can follow all my previous lessons from the links in the description box below. Let's get started. So in our previous lesson, we learned how to download Google Earth Pro and also install. We also learned how to download topographical maps that we're going to be using in this exercise for the region of your choice. Georeferencing is the process of assigning real-world coordinates to each pixel of a raster. When you georeference your raster, you define its location using the map coordinates and assign the coordinate system to the map frame. So let's go to QGIS and perform a first georeferencing on the topo map that we have downloaded for our region. So I'm going to open QGIS, and in my QGIS I have a blank project. So before I do anything in my QGIS, I just confirm to you that the data that I'm using is from a region that I downloaded from the Google Earth, and it's under world, and it's under the scale of 1 to 1,000,000, and it's in this region here in Sudan where the River Nile passes and meanders very, very nicely. So I've actually downloaded this data here from the US Army, and this is what you're going to be using in this exercise. You can also download data for any region of your own. So let me now load the topographical map into a QGIS. I'm going to go to layer. Because it's a raster layer, we're going to add a raster layer. So add raster layer. And I'm going to browse for where my raster layer is, and it's under GIS data and it's georeferencing. I actually created a folder called georeferencing. I'm going to select, this is the data that I downloaded. It's a JPEG file, the Great Nile. Then I'll click on add. And then I'll click on close. You can see we actually have our raster layer here, but if you look closely at the coordinates, you'll notice that they are actually not right. So we just want to assign coordinates to this raster layer so that it's now put it in its right place. So we need a plugin, which is a core plugin called a Georeferencer plugin. So where do we find the Georeferencer plugin? It being a core plugin, we're going to find it under raster. So we select raster, then you'll see a Georeferencer. So we're going to select Georeferencer, and it brings in a new window here. So I'm going to just maximize it so that we concentrate on this window and not looking at what is on the background. On this new window, it also has some tools here. It's file, there's edit, there's view, there is settings. The first thing we need to do is we need to bring our JPEG file here. And how do we bring it to this work area? We click on the first tab here, which is Open Raster. I'm going to select the Great Nile. That is the raster that we actually downloaded the topo map. It will bring it here now. And then on this interface, there is this part here where there is the overview of whatever you are working on. And then there is down here, which there's some small box here called the GCP table. The GCP table is just the ground control points that you're going to be using to do your georeferencing. They will be actually appearing here. And for you to have a very, very nice georeferencing, you need to have at least 3 or more points in your map so that you have a nice georeferencer. We'll start by looking at these tools. We have already used this tool here, so you know how to open the raster. Then this is the start georeferencing. We're going to use this tool as soon as we have already done everything that we need to know map, and we need to now run the analysis. Then there is these load GCPs. You can be having ground control points and you want to load them. You can also add, you can also save the GCP points here. Then there is the add point. This is what we are going to be using here. We're going to be adding ground control points on this raster layer here. You can also delete the points. You can also move the points. These are tools you're going to be using, the pan tool, the zoom in and zoom out tool, and all that. The next thing we are going to look at is you're going to look at the settings. That is very, very important. So under settings, we're going to look at the transformation settings. The transformation type, we're going to leave it at linear. The sampling method, nearest neighbor. There are actually so many things you can do here, but we're going to leave it to linear first. Then the CRS, you're going to leave it to the project CRS, which is the projection. Then the output raster, we're just going to give it a new file in the same folder, but it will have a title called modified, and it's a TIFF file. Then compression, you're not going to do any compression. We're going to save the GCP, the ground control points. And then you can actually generate reports if you want, and generate PDF reports on a PDF map, but you're not interested in that right now. And finally, you're going to load our result into QGIS. These are the settings that I have, and I'm going to click on OK to save them. Then now we want to do our georeferencing. What do we need for georeferencing? One, we can actually get coordinates from our map here, or we can get coordinates from our canvas or from any other kind of reference that we are going to be using. But for this exercise, we're going to just be using the coordinates that are within our raster layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so that I'm able to see the coordinates. So I'm going to just zoom in into one of the corners, and you can see, I can see very clearly there's some coordinates here on our grid. If I pan like this, you can see there's another coordinate here. And if I pan vertically, you can see I have coordinate here. I have another coordinate here. So we have latitudes and longitudes, and the rule of GIS is where the latitude and longitude meet is a point, a coordinate point. So, like for example, this is a latitude, and this is a longitude. The points moving from north to south are longitudes, and points moving from east to west or east are latitudes. This is a latitude, and this is a longitude. So our first point should be where they intersect here. And for me to be able to get this, I need to get the first coordinate, which is up here, which is the longitude, which is 31. So in my mind, I know that I have 31. It might be having so many figures, but for now, this is just simple. It's just 31 degrees. We're going to use 31 for the longitude. And then for the y-axis or the latitude, we're going to use 19. So I'm just going to go to this, zoom to it nicely, and then I'll come back to my tools here. Remember 31 and 19. I'm just going to select, add a ground control point, add a GCP, add a point. So I'm going to add this first point here, and the X is 31 and the Y is 19. And up here you can see, you can enter XY coordinates in degrees, minutes, seconds, decimal degrees, or projected coordinates, which is in meters, which correspond to the selected point or the image, or alternatively, just click on that pencil and be able to get the coordinates directly from the canvas. So you're not actually getting any coordinates from the canvas, but you're just getting coordinates from whatever we see on our map. The intersection of the 2 points is 31 and 19. So for our first ground control point, you're going to be using 31 and 19. I'm going to click on OK. You can see a red dot appears there. It means our first ground control point has been put. You can see it is also down here. So I'm going to zoom out this, and then I'll look for another region. It should be actually proportional. So I'm going to select maybe somewhere down here. So I'm just going to look at the coordinates. You can see if I zoom here now, this region here, you'll see there's 17 degrees. and there is 16 degrees, and there is the 31 degrees and 32 degrees. So I'm interested in an intersection, and you can see these two are intersecting here. So it means that's our second ground control point can be put there. The longitude, which is the x, is 31. The latitude, which is the y, is 17. So I'll zoom in 31 and 17. I'll zoom in. This is where they meet. I'll select that, put it there, and it's 31 and 17. And again, I just say okay, because I'm not using anything from the canvas. I'll say okay, and I have my second ground control point. Let's look for one last point because we need at least 3 points. And we said proportionality is very important, so I'm going to look for another point on this other side. So I'm just going to pan and then zoom in to a region where I can get a ground control point. And you can see this is now the longitude is 35 degrees, and I want to intersect with some latitude that is on this other side. The longitude is 35 here. I'm going to just move down here. And you can see I have 19. I'll not use 19 for now. There is 18 here. So where they intersect here is now our third ground control point. So 35 and 18. 35 is the x and 18 is the y. I'm going to just zoom in completely so that I get the most precise point. So 35 and 18 is somewhere here. So I'm going to click on my yellow add point again and click on this and put 35 and 18. Always make sure that you put the correct coordinates here, because if you don't put the correct coordinates, then you will have a wrong result. So, and then we click on OK. So I have actually so far 3 points, and I'm happy about the 3 points. I'm satisfied. I don't need to put many more points. I just zoom out. And you can see my distribution of the points. 1 point is here, another point is here, another point is here. So the next step is to just perform the georeferencing. To perform the georeferencing, I'm going to just click on this green play button here called the Start Georeferencing. I'm going to click on it once. It will tell you the progress, and you can see. And after some few minutes, you'll see the raster has been successfully georeferenced. I'm just going to minimize this, and I'm going now to my work area here. Remember, we had only one file here, and now we have 2. You can see now this is a Great Nile modified, and this was just a Great Nile. I'm just going to zoom into the Great Nile modified. And you can see now I have a georeferenced scanned map. So to know if it's georeferenced, we can actually add a base map so that you can confirm if it was actually accurately georeferenced. Or we can just look at the coordinates, and you can see now the coordinates are very, very much okay. The coordinates are within that region actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a base layer. How do we add a base layer? I'm going to use the HCMGS plugin, and then I'm going to add a Google satellite image. And when I add a Google satellite image, actually it comes and covers everything. So I'm going to just bring it below. Yes. And now you can see our map is somewhere in the region of Sudan, so that you can actually see very clearly what is, if this is really the exact location of where the map is supposed to be. You can actually do a little bit of modification. Let me just change the transparency of my Great Nile modified. Let me put it at, maybe say 6, 9 or 70. Okay. And now you can see actually there's a little bit of difference. You can see this river coming here and then passing through here. So I'll uncheck, check, so that you can actually confirm. Sorry. When I uncheck, you can see there's now the river on there, Google Earth. And then when I check the river on my map, I can also do the same thing here. You can see this is my map. But when I check the map, you can see now the real river versus here. So actually we have done excellent work on this georeferencing. Now let's look at where our initial Great Nile was. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom to everything. And you will see now this was our Great Nile. But now we have georeference that you can see it somewhere there. So it has been actually placed in the right location. Let me just zoom in so that you can just see the difference. You can see this was the Great Nile, but now it's like it was just pulled and put there in its right place. Now let's do for another example and see if it's going to actually work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove the Nile here, remove the layer. I no longer need it. Thank you very much for that. Now we're going to do another georeferencing. So I'm going to actually do the same thing. Go to raster, georeferencer. Then we're going to add now another image. So I'm going to add another image, maybe say the map of Sudan. And we have a nice map here that was actually downloaded from the internet. We want to perform georeferencing to this and see if it's going to work nicely for us. So remember the X is the longitude and the Y is the latitude. So where they meet is the coordinate. So I'm going to just zoom in this and you can see the Y is 10 degrees north and the X is 25 degrees east. So where they meet is our meeting point. So 25 degrees east X and 10 degrees north Y. So 25 and 10. So I'm going to add this point 25 and 10 to the Y. Then I'm going to say okay. I'm also going to zoom out again. Then pan to another region. Maybe this one where they intersect again. There is 25 and 20 north. So 25, let me just zoom in so that it's visible. Zoom out a bit. So I'll zoom into this. So it's 25 degrees east and 20 degrees north. So where they intersect is my other next ground control point. So 25 and 20. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to say 25 and 20. And I'm saying okay. Then I'm going to also do the same thing again. I'm going to pan or maybe zoom out first. Then I'm going to look for another point. For proportionality, you look for points that are a bit proportional. So you can see there is 35 degrees east and there is 15 degrees north. Let's just follow this 35 degrees east and 15 degrees north. So that's our point, 35 and 15, where they intersect. So it's 35 and 15. I say, okay, I have 3 points. I'm happy about them. I'm going to actually run the Georeferencer. So I'm going to just click on and make sure the settings are okay. Transformation settings linear. This is how we want it to be saved and okay. Then I'm going to just click on run. And it has said the georeference successful. The raster has successfully been georeferenced. So, and I'm going to look at my map and you can see it has already been added into our map. I'm going to zoom out a bit and you can now see the map of Sudan modified has been added onto our map. I can even bring it down so that the Great Nile is up. You can see the Great Nile is there and the Sudan map is nicely placed on its right location. To confirm this, you still use the base map, and you can see if I zoom in here on the lake here, you can see actually it is almost accurate. You can see also on the other side, almost accurate. So from this then on, you can decide to get this information that you don't have. Like for example, you can digitize the roads. You can get the points like the airports. You can actually create new layers of the airports. If you don't have this data, you can even create the names of these towns maybe and put them in your new map as the new data. And also you can also use these to actually even digitize and see some new information is within these and update your geodatabase. So that's it. You have performed your first georeferencing. If you found this video useful and you want to learn more on QGIS, subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon so that you can get a notification when I upload the next lesson. Otherwise, I'm just happy you're here. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. See you in the next lesson.